So I was just with my brother Spencer, and Spencer was like, "Oh, homie, I'm meeting up with my dealer. He's at the Woolworths bathrooms, and I'm meeting up with my dealer, and we're gonna get some of this weed." And he was asking me if I wanted to join him, and I was like, "Spencer, is this really what you want?" And he was like, "Of course, homie. This is the life, homie. This is all you need for your peace of mind." And I was like, "Homie, is this really all that you want from your life?" And he was about to say, I could tell he was about to say, "Oh yeah, this is all I want from my life." But then he paused and he thought about it, and he was like, "Well, I actually wanted to be this. I actually wanted to be this rugby league superstar and play in the major leagues and become a champion." And I was like, "So, this is what you really wanted, huh?" And homie was like, "Yeah, that's what I want." And I was like, "And how is smoking this weed getting you to where you want to be?" And homie was like, "Well, it's not getting me there, but I've just been feeling so hopeless in my dreams, and I felt like smoking this weed was gonna give me this feeling of progression without actually having to put in the work to become rugby superstar." And I was like, "Homie, it's good that you have this dream to become a rugby superstar, but what you're doing right now may not be leading you to where you want to be." And he was like, "All right, so what do I got to do?" And I was like, "Homie, you got to put in the work. You got to go to some coaching, and I could be there for you throughout the whole process. I could show up to your training and maybe give you some pointers, and maybe could hit up some homies, and we could start a team of like-minded individuals who are training to become rugby champions." And he was like, "All right, that sounds awesome. Just let me buy some weed for a minute, and I'll just have a smoke, and then we can get started." And I was like, "Homie, what do you really want?" And he was like, "I want to be a rugby champion." And I was like, "All right, well then you may need to cut back on the weed." And that man was getting mad. He was like, "What? But I just told you that weed was good for my peace of mind." And I was like, "Homie, I know that what you really want is to be focused and consistent in your efforts to become a rugby champion, and weed is a distraction. It gives you foggy brain and makes you lose focus, homie." And he was like, "Really? So you really believe that if I smoke this weed, then I'm gonna get foggy brain, and I'm gonna lose my focus, and I'm just gonna feel way too relaxed and like not want to put in the hard work that's uncomfortable, but it's what I need to do to become a rugby champion, And I was like, homie, you just said it perfectly. And Spencer, and bro, Spencer's a rugby champion. He played in like the major leagues. I was watching him on TV. He was like scoring touchdown after touchdown. And I was so impressed. And I was like, where did this all start? This all started when I taught that homie to put in the work and cut back on these meaningless distractions from his purpose. And so, boys, you could be the best rugby champion. You could be the best at whatever your dreams are. But these meaningless distractions like the weed and these things that are making you feel too relaxed, so you don't want to put in this uncomfortable work to pursue your dreams. So the moral of this video is chase your dreams, and you may need to cut back on the meaningless distractions in order to chase these long-term dreams. And that's all I got for the video. Goodbye.